listen, this isn't about flipping $10,000 fast like some get-rich-quick scheme. This is a method to grow with options. Yo, what's going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you are having a God-blessed day. Today, every single person that comments down below is going to get our quad option strategy playbook, which details the entire quad option strategy in a ton of detail and how we leverage it to build our option selling portfolios. But guys, today is going to be a video showing you how I would grow if I had a portfolio that was only $10,000. And no, I'm not taking some insane risks like buying options, drawing on candlesticks, and making some ridiculous thesis up to grow my portfolio. No, this is a smarter way that I have found that works when trading options. So let's go over the shoulder. So right now, we're just going to assume bare bones, right? Like, yeah, we're starting at $10,000 and we want to get into some sort of options trade. I'm going to kind of go through my thought process through this strategy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for stocks that I believe in long term. That's the first and most important thing that we got to do. We got to go into companies that if we have to buy, we are comfortable owning them long term. Cannot stress this enough. And you ain't going to necessarily find this on a YouTube video. You got to go find stocks that you believe in long term. So for example, today, right, I am looking at J&J. Right? Extremely boring stock, right? Extremely boring, right? I'm looking at J&J and I'm like, you know what? J&J has had a pretty big drop here, right? We can see we're trading towards our bottom of the Bollinger Band. We'll talk all about that here in a moment, right? And it's looking like a good setup. However, is this stock within my budget? No, it's not, right? It's trading at $148. Now, that is our first lesson, okay? If you are trading with only a $10,000 portfolio, right, with the strategy that you're going to learn throughout this video, you are essentially putting up your collateral, your money on the line, right? And every options contract is 100 shares. So we have to times this number by 100, right? So 148 times 100 is, close to $15,000. That's outside of our budget, but that's cool because we can then be like, hey, you know what, J&J, you know what, I'm going to get you when I got a little bit more money, right? So I'm going to add you to my watch list and I'm just going to keep monitoring you. This is a good setup, but you know what, I'm going to go and just find something else. All right. And then maybe we're like, you know what, hey, BMY, right? BMY is getting a beat down right now as well yesterday. So it's setting up pretty nicely here for doing a cash secured put, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's kind of show you at full circle, and then we'll dive into like technicals, when to do things, when not to do things, so you're fully educated on how this process looks like and how I think through things. So I'm going to go over to our options chain. You can use any brokerage you like. I like to showcase Robinhood on this channel because a lot of you guys like it. I also really like Schwab as the primary one though. But for the sake of this example, we'll just be using Robinhood. So we're going to go to our options chain, wherever that is for you. We're going to make sure we're clicking sell a put. And we're going to go on our expiration date about 30 to 45 days. We'll do 36 days. What I'm saying here is I'm willing to buy 100 shares of BMY, right, in 36 days, okay? And I'm going to name my price on where I would buy BMY, and I'm going to collect premium from an options buyer, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so right here, we can see BMY is trading at 44, and we're like, you know what? If it drops to 40, in 36 days, I'm totally cool buying it, right? I even love it at the current price of 44. It's been getting beat up. It's a company I love. It's a company I believe in. You know what? Fantastic. If it drops to 40, even better, I will totally buy 100 shares for $40, right? So what we're seeing right here is we would actually collect $32 of premium from an options buyer, right? This is called premium. You can look at this as cash, as whatever, but we refer to this as premium, and this is given to you immediately when you open up this contract. You don't have to give any of it back. There's some strategies for giving some of it back, but no, this is immediately given to you when you open up the contract. That's given to you. Now, when you do that, your collateral, your money will be tied up for those 36 days. So let's kind of put this into our cash secured put calculator so we can kind of see a high level visual. Obviously, these premium examples are only at the time of me recording this, right? And they're all for educational examples only, right? So we're collecting, what did we say? $38. Obviously, you could see it's constantly fluctuating. $39, we'll just say, as our example. So we're putting $39 of premium that we're getting from the options buyer, right? We now have to put up our collateral, right? That's going to tie up our money. How much of our money? Well, 40 times 100 is 4,000. So we put $4,000 of our collateral here. Now we're working with about $10,000. So you know what we'll say? You know what? This is kind of like the best setup we're seeing right now. And you know what? We'll just do 2 contracts to maximize as much of our budget that we can, right? So we'll put 2 right here. And we'll see that's our collateral is $8,000, and our contract, how much premium we're actually going to collect is $78. We collect that $78 of premium from the options buyer for opening up 2 contracts, which gives us about a return of 1% in those 37 days, right? Now, some of you might be like, Pete, that's terrible, right? Why would I do this just to make 1% on my money, right? Like that makes no sense. Well, in my opinion, what I have found is that the more boring the stock is, the kind of not so great premiums that you're going to get. And these are kind of things that you have to weigh the risks for yourself, right? And that's what this channel is all about. Educational content. It's not about copying trades or doing any of that silly nonsense, right? So if you like straightforward content that helps you think for yourself, you're in the right place, right? Make sure you like and subscribe. So if you see this and you're like, you know what, Pete, I don't know if I want this. That's a lot of money that I'm tying up here for that kind of like, return. Maybe I want to look at something else, right? So fantastic, right? We just copy this, all these calculators, although everything's free here, guys. Everything's free unless you want to work one-on-one with me, which obviously takes time, right? And that's links in the description for that. But all these calculators, all this content, it's free. Join our free Facebook group, links in the description. You could download those calculators in there for yourself, right? So we're just going to copy this here, and then we're going to go look at a different opportunity. We're going to be like, okay, well, let's keep looking around. What else is out there that maybe we can get into that we like? All right, so maybe there's another setup. Oh, cool. You know what? Merck is getting pretty beat up as well. Let's just refresh this here. It's down a little red. It was down pretty heavily yesterday as well. Merck, I love this company as well. I want to build my position here. Oh, interesting. We're actually dropped below our where we dropped in early April. Okay, so that's interesting. We've actually dropped below, and there was a big market crash in the start of April. Wow. Okay. This looks like it could be a great buying opportunity for Merck. Let me go take a look at what those options premiums look like. So we're going to put Merck right here, MRK, right? And then we're going to simply go over to our trade options sections. We're going to click sell put, and we'll go back out to our 37-day or 36-day expiration. Okay, awesome. Merck's trading at $73 right now. I love it at 73. I love it at 73. You know what? If it hits 70, I'm totally cool. If it hits 70 in 36 days from now, fantastic. I would love that. And I would totally buy Merck because I believe in it long term. And I do think it'll hit all-time highs once again. I do believe that. All right. So cool. Let's see. For that, I would actually collect, $215 from the options buyer as premium for that. Interesting. Let me go put this into our cover call calculator. $215. Wow. However, for that, I'm wrapping up $7,000, right, for this 36-day period. That's $7,000 right here. So I'm going to put 7,000 right here. Okay. And we can only afford 1 contract. All right. Not a problem. We got one. We only got, we can only afford 1 contract. Not a problem. That wraps up 7,000 of our 10K that we have. Wow. That's a really juicy premium. Obviously, guys, these are all for educational examples only at the time of when I was shooting these. Their results vary. There are absolutely no guarantees in this stuff. So read the disclaimer. So collateral here is 7,000. That would be locked up for about those 36 days, right? We're getting it at a price that we have deemed we would want to own 100 shares of Merck at, which is 70. For that, we're going to be collecting premium from an options buyer, right? And that's fantastic, right? Let's say we open up that contract. What happened next? That's the best part, in my opinion. This is why this strategy is my favorite, because I do not consider myself a trader. I am, as much as you guys say, hey, P, you were very smart. You're a very smart guy. Listen, I'm good at honing in on things and not get distracted and just hone in. And I hone in on this strategy. All right. But listen, I'm not smart enough to be like a day trader or sit in front of my computer all day drawing on candlesticks. I see some of these kids and older people doing this. I'm like, bro, that sounds awful. That sounds absolutely awful. I don't want to do that. I like to stick to these kind of strategies that don't require a ton of hand holding on my part. A few trades a month is fine by me, right? Over trading usually leads to losses, okay? And I think we've all tried like buying options and stuff, and we all been burned. Can I get an amen? And I can't be the only one. Give me an amen, right? If you've been burned by day trading or buying options or trying to do some scalping or all sorts of swing trading stuff, like again, that's just not me. It's not what I like to do. This is the strategy that I like. So let's go full circle here. So there are a few things can happen. What are the risks, Pete? Because it sounds awesome, but what are the risks? Here are the risks. I'm gonna lay them out for you, and you have to make the judgment call on yourself if they're worth for you. These risks are worth for you. Number one is, let's say 36 days rolls around and Merck stays above $70. If it stays above $70, your collateral your options contract is going to expire worthless. That means that your collateral will be freed up to you. Your $7,000 will be given back to you to then run the play on a different opportunity and collect more premium. Fantastic, right? We can go do it again. Fan freaking tastic. Here's the second thing that can happen, all right? Is Merck could drop to 70. Merck can drop to 60, and you're going to have to buy it at $70 a share. This goes back to the first point I made at the start of this video. It is so important to make sure when you're investing, in my opinion, to be investing in stocks that you actually believe in stocks that you have no problem holding long term. Listen, I've done really dumb things in my life in terms of investing. I've gone into stupid stocks because my friend told me this or I saw it on YouTube there, and I always ended up getting burned because I didn't understand the business's business model. I didn't actually like the business at all. I knew nothing about the business. I only took it as like hey, my friend told me about it or some guy on YouTube told me about it. Why not throw some money at it? 9 times out of 10, that caused me to fail. One thing that did start working for me was focusing on companies that I am proud to own, companies that I believe are going to be around for the inevitable future, right? Like a J&J or a Merck, and focusing my attention on those with this kind of like boring strategy. Okay. So with that said, let's say Merck does drop to 70, right? If Merck dropped to 70, you will then be on the hook to actually purchase your shares. So you have to be comfortable doing that. Now, something cool that we could do if we end up having to buy those shares in 36 days, we can actually then do something called a covered call, where then we use our 100 shares as collateral and sell those. Right? We could say we're going to sell those at a specific price and collect more premium. More on that in a second, right? So let's say, for example, you really like, you like this setup that you've set up for yourself, right? This first one is a no-go because you're like, you know what? I don't really like it. But you do like this, but you have about $3,000 extra in our budget, right? We're only putting up $7,000. So let's copy this real quick and say, okay, you know what? I have about $3,000 left here. What can I get into here? Well, let's take a look at maybe, like a cheaper stock. One of my personal favorites is SoFi. So let's go take a look at SoFi right here. You could see SoFi is down about 3% today, and it is always a great time, timing the market is a whole separate video, but usually if a stock is plummeting down in the red, that is a good time to sell these cash secured puts, selling puts saying you're willing to buy 100 shares because you're going to get better strikes and better premiums, okay? So we're going to go to the trade options section on SoFi. We're going to click sell put, and we'll use that same expiration date, right? We'll put 36 days here. Okay, cool. Now we're seeing SoFi's trading at, $13.59. You're like, you know what? I like the 12s. If it drops to 12, I got no problem owning 100 shares of SoFi. It's a product that I love. It's a product that I use every single day. I'm very bullish on it long term, and fantastic. I'm getting it for about $2 off the current market value, and I'm collecting $34 per contract from the options buyer. So let's go take a look at what that return's looking like. So we're collecting 34 from the options buyer if we open that contract, right? We are putting up $1,200 now, right? 12 times 100 as our collateral. Right. And we are getting a very nice return in my opinion right here. And we can actually do a couple more contracts because of our budget. So we can do about 2 contracts here, right? We could do 2 contracts here. That puts us right at, $9,400 of our 10K budget. Now, let's say we did open up these 2 contracts. The premium that we've collected is about $283 from the options buyer today. Some of you might be watching this and thinking to yourselves, Pete, so I'm locking up about $10,000 to make a little under $300? Like, that's not worth it, Pete. And I'm going to challenge you to change your thinking process a little bit. Listen, at the end of the day, you go do what you got to do. What I have found is this is the way you can really start compounding your money, right? And we always hear that. How do we make our money work for us? How do we actually do that? Well, a lot of people think it's, let's just buy and hold stuff, right? Now, of course, buy and hold the ETFs. I definitely recommend a bit larger portion of your portfolio have something like that. But for me, with option selling, I treat it like a business, and the purpose of a business is to turn a profit, right? I like to look at option selling kind of like that, right? Where the purpose is to turn a profit and actually make gains, not just look at like fictitious gains on a screen. Listen, if the last 2 months have shown us anything with this, how quickly this market can move, right? It showed us that, hey, maybe, right, getting in out of stocks, selling your positions, getting in at better prices, collecting premiums is the better move to do, right? So I challenge you to change your thinking process a little bit. At least give it a shot that you could think it through, right? Listen, a lot of YouTube videos will tell you, go dump it into some weird meme coin or some weird low penny stock or something like that. And in my opinion, that's a losing game. Right. And again, that's just my opinion, but I don't believe, I believe I would much rather, go into two companies like Merck and SoFi, companies that I'm extremely bullish on, and collect a little bit of that premium, potentially purchase those shares at a great price, right? And then do covered calls on them to collect more premium. I'd rather do that than go into some sketchy thing where most likely I'm going to end up losing money. If you want the full strategy breakdown of the quad option strategy, this is just one of the 4 strategies of the quad option strategy that I just shared with you guys. Make sure to drop a comment down below. I'll personally respond to you with our quad option strategy playbook, which outlines all of this in way more detail. And if you are somebody that wants a more hands-held approach on this and you want to really learn how you can set up your very own option selling portfolio, maybe the 1-year incubator is something you want to check out. That link will be the first one down below in the description of today's video, guys. Remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.